Hello, everyone. Even though we don't see your faces just yet, we want to make sure that we welcome the students who have signed up for this Q&A session and to meet with really an amazing team of Peabody and International Student and Scholar Services to provide any information that you still would like to have as you prepare for your journey to Nashville. And so my name is Sho Cravens. I serve as the International Students and Affairs Associate Dean for Peabody College. I also serve as the director for one of the master's programs we have. It's called International Education Policy and Management. And my job at the Dean's office is to support. We have a wonderful team of associate deans and staff members, work with admissions and also serving our students in terms of both for their academic and then social well-being. So I will turn this to Associate Dean Catherine Laws and for her to introduce herself. And then Catherine, if you would name the next person.
Sure, thank you. Good evening from Nashville. And what time? So it's various time zones from where you're all calling in from. We're so happy that you're with us. I am a longstanding colleague of Dean Cravens. We share a home department. We are both faculty members in the Department of Leadership, Policy, and Organization. I teach primarily in our Master of Public Policy program and our EDD program, but I also have had many students in the IEPM program as well. And in my role as Dean of Academic Affairs and Professional Education, I work very closely with my faculty colleagues and staff across our 5 academic departments here at Peabody, overseeing 23 of our programs, ranging from teacher education, quantitative methods, education policy, special education, so across the full range of our professional program offerings. It's a pleasure to be with you here tonight, and we look forward to welcome you all to Vanderbilt and to Nashville very soon. So I don't want to take up too much time here, so I will pass it to Andrea, my colleague in Student Services, and a wonderful campus partner and a wonderful support for our international students.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Petrick. I am an assistant director in International Student and Scholar Services. And my office is an office you'll probably be interacting with quite a lot over your time at Vanderbilt. We process your I-20s, your DS 2019s, and we also provide support for you as you make your transition to Nashville. I will be your primary point of contact in the International Student and Scholar Services. So every student on an F or a J visa at Vanderbilt has a primary contact in ISSS, and I serve as that contact for Peabody. So I've gotten to know some of you already just through emails, but I look forward to meeting all of you soon, and I'm very eager for that, and I wish you all the best as you start your journey here to Vanderbilt. And I guess I will pass it on to Jasmine to introduce herself.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine. I am a second-year IEPM student and also a graduate assistant at Dean's office, responsible for international student and affairs. So I think most of you have already read my email at some time, because I'm also doing the IMAP program. If you haven't heard about that, just go back to read the email. And if you have any questions, just reach out back to me. We are so excited to welcome you to start your new journey, no matter in a professional or academic scenario. So next, our Director of Admission, Kim.
Hello, everybody. I know you all know how to get hold of me because you've heard lots of things from me, lots of emails, but I am actually a real person. I get asked that all the time. But first, I want to say thank you for joining us. Hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are out in the world. But congratulations on being admitted. We are really looking forward to welcoming you to campus soon. And thanks for making the time to join us today. So now I guess I'll pass it back to Shel.
Yes, thank you so much, Kim. Today is relatively informal. We wanted just to be available and have this kind of a room, virtual room available for you to walk in and ask your questions. We received a couple of questions. Thank you for submitting that. But also we would welcome you to, either open up your cameras if you would like, if you're not comfortable doing that just yet, which we usually notice our international students the first a few times on Zoom, the cameras are closed. And once you get into your classes and get familiar with your surroundings, and that becomes a lot more comfortable, which will be fine. And so your questions can also be entered into the chat room. So if you have any questions, we will make sure to see if you have any questions written there, and then we can actually answer that. So to get the conversation going, I'm gonna first to invite Dean Laws and Kim to talk a little bit just about what are some of the things we've been working on in terms of orientation. We have a busy, quite a few days of orientation, both virtual and in person prepared. Just maybe a few highlights for our students to hear.
Sure, I'm happy to take that first, and then Kim, I'll pass it to you if there are other things to add. So as Dean Cravens indicated, we are all, even though campus slows down a little bit in the summer at Vanderbilt, here at Peabody, we actually have some students that are starting their academic programs over the summer, and the entire dean's office is quite busy in anticipation of your arrival, working closely with our campus partners to ensure a smooth transition to your academic and broader life here in Nashville. As Dean Cravens indicated, one of the things we're working on hard as a team is orientation to ensure that we are getting students off to a terrific start here at Peabody. And part of that orientation will be fully online. And so the week of August 15th, is that right, Kim? Correct me on that date. The week of August 15th, and by the way, I should preface this by saying you'll be getting more information in written form. You've received some of it, but you'll get more to come. The Brightspace page, which is the learning management system at Vanderbilt and where all of your classes are housed here at Peabody, contains virtual modules for orientation. Those are just a lot of things to help you get situated, information, some important modules that you need to complete as part of compliance here at Peabody and Vanderbilt. So that's one piece. And then the second piece of orientation is an in-person orientation that takes place on Monday, August 22nd, and also part of Tuesday, August 3rd. And that is designed to both give you opportunities to get really acquainted with within your individual programs, to meet your faculty, fellow students, department leadership, and just get a better sense of the academic programs and life as a student here at Peabody. And then just some broader campus programming and dean's office programming to meet some of the teams and support folks that will be here to help welcome you and help you to set you on your course here at Vanderbilt. I'll let Dr. Cravens talk a little bit more about the International Student Breakfast, which we are always are so excited to host every year as part of orientation. And then the last day of that week, after classes start on that Wednesday, we have a wonderful block party planned for all of new and returning students to celebrate the start of the new academic year. I'll also just say there are probably some other things that you are all busy working on, things like getting your immunization requirements fulfilled, which is really important. And I'm happy to answer questions about that. Registering for classes, all program directors at various times will be reaching out to their students. So more information to come to ensure that you are all registered and ready to go for the fall. But I'll stop there. And if Kim or Jasmine or Dr. Cravens or Andrew, there's anything you want to add to that very broad overview, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, Dean Losh, you did a great job covering all that. I am on the team that is planning orientation. We're finalizing things now. You're going to be getting more information very soon, but the in-person orientation will be on August 22nd. So you'll want to make sure that you have that day cleared. I think it's going to start out in the morning with time in your programs, and then you'll hear from various other offices We're also coordinating campus tours that are going to be offered at various times. We're hoping that we can do it like the week before orientation, the in-person orientation, and then maybe offer them during that week with various times so that we can help you be oriented to campus. That week of August 22nd, there are going to be some other things happening. Like Dean Law said, the block party will be Friday afternoon. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's always something that current students look forward to. And by that time, you probably will have met other people within your cohort. So you'll have some friends to show up with. But yeah, we're planning various other things during that week, and probably even continuing a couple weeks after that first week of classes with some programming, just to not overload you on that first August 22nd day, give you some time to settle in, know the questions that you need to ask. And I will drop my email into the chat. If you have questions, if you need direction, I am happy to be a point of contact for you. That's why I'm here. That's part of the job that I love. So I think that's it. I think that covers it.
Thank you so much, Kim. Yes, you love your job and we love you for just your emails always coming back so fast whenever anyone would have a question. So yeah, we are very excited to have lots of in-person activities, but of course having it online, virtually, the information available. I know many of our international students may be in home country, and there are still lots of concerns about COVID and also making the journey and meeting all the requirements. And so you probably have lots of questions, but in a nutshell, we're here having really fully operational in-person classes and teaching and social activities, even though we're also being very cautious. So those are some of the things you can look forward to when you come here to have a wonderful learning community that you can be part of. And so this kind of is a good segue to go to the ISS, where I think in the summer, really the team at ISS and ISSS, triple S is really hard to say. There are lots of great workshops being offered and just making sure the information is provided for students before you come. So Andrea, can you just maybe give us a summary of some of the things that have been really happening and what are some things that you would like our students to know?
Yeah, absolutely. So over the summer, our office is prepared and has partnered with other campus partners to provide a series of pre-arrival sessions that go over a lot of topics that you're probably thinking about right now, like what kinds of things should you pack? Or if I have a job on campus, what do I have to do? So I'm going to put this link in the chat to our pre-arrival sessions. We've had a few already. But all of our recordings are going to be posted on this page. So if you missed a session or the time doesn't work for you, you can always refer back to this page after the session and get that recording. So we have that. And then also on that page, earlier this year, our two graduate student assistants, both of whom are also Peabody students, put together some housing panels specifically to get students together to talk about some of their experiences with the housing search. So those sessions are linked on that same pre-arrival page too. And you may find it helpful in getting a student's perspective on navigating housing, trying to figure out what this lease means, trying to find places that are convenient and close to campus. So all of that is here as a resource for you. In addition to that, keep checking your Vanderbilt email because you'll be getting more communication from us towards the end of the summer about a CVIS check-in. So Once you physically arrive in the US, you will need to have a check-in session where we just basically confirm that you're here and all of your documents are fine. And that is a required piece when you arrive. So you'll be getting more information about that. And we will also have our own online orientation module that you'll have to complete. And that will have information that's related to your F1 or J1 status. Again, you'll be getting plenty of emails from us later, but just to give you an idea of what's coming. And of course, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to contact me, and I can put my email in the chat too.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Andrea. So we have Jasmine here, as Jasmine talked about, and she in the summer works as a graduate assistant with all of us here to make sure that there's a student contact for incoming new students if you have any questions. But we have a couple of really exciting initiatives and the IMAP program that Jasmine mentioned. That's I'm sure all of you have received email messages. It's relatively new at the dean's office level. We wanted to provide peer mentoring and support for new students. And on that, Jasmine, can you give us just a quick update where we are? I know we have 5 departments that we're working with, and where we can have the liaisons, but all the students who are interested in signing up as new students from any of the programs can actually be part of.
Yeah, so I've compiled all the intake forms, and so excited to see over half of the students already signed and already sent out all the contact information for the mentors. And I believe they all have reached out to you. And I'm just so excited to see you guys started to build all this connection, no matter in the academic scenario or helping you to get used to the living or any culture stuff here. So if you guys have any questions, you can refer to me, and I would just suggest you to go to refer to your mentors. They are very, very helpful and very supportive in helping your transition journey.
Yeah, so we have about 50 new students who have signed up to be mentees and to be paired with current students. Some of the students are international students themselves, but also some of them are American students. And I would encourage all of you to make sure that be proactive, reach out and work with your program directors, and don't be afraid to ask questions and ask for help. And so one of the questions came in from the sign up was about housing. I think housing in Nashville is definitely not just for international students, for all the professional students and graduate students who are looking for off-campus housing. It's challenging, but there are still many creative ways to have that resolved. And one question, Andrea and Jasmine, I'll give you the question is, when students are still abroad and they don't have a local phone number, and when you're trying to work on housing, signing lease or work, what usually are some of the ways to address that problem?
I'll start by saying that, some landlords are different. So some may require that, some may not, or some might be flexible. And if you don't yet have a US phone number, but you have someone in the US that, it has been assisting you, you can sometimes, they might let you use that. So that might be one thing to try. There are some, and I can look real quick and put these links in the chat, but there are also some companies that provide SIM cards for international students, and they will, since COVID happened, they've started shipping SIM cards directly to students by request. So if you want to have a US phone number, right as you enter, that might be something you might want to do. Let me see if I can find that information.
Yes.
So
Jasmine?
Yes, I know myself very well. I'm very dummy in some living situations. So instead of trying to find all this apartment all by myself, actually I just sublease from another person, which just make everything become much easier. Or if you wanna try to, you know, make your budget become, if you have a very limited budget, maybe you can also share your housing with another person, so you're not alone. You guys can find a solution all together. And just as Andrea suggested, we also, I think in ISS website, there is like information telling you there is our phone car provider who can ship their car overseas. So maybe you guys can check it out if you want to do everything all by yourself.
Yeah, so, and also one suggestion, Jasmine, I have is, I would encourage students with questions that, you know, if you can't find the information, and send it to me and Jasmine. We can have a crowdsourcing kind of a mechanism so that we can ask the questions to all the current students. If they know, sometimes the students know a lot more different solutions than you know, us. And so those are some of the, make sure that you bring those questions to us, and then we can definitely ask around. Are there any other questions? Because I think the purpose of this session is called Q&A, questions and answers. And so then for us to keep going, we would love to see if you have any concerns or questions that we can address. So this happens when I have Q&A sessions for my class, right, Catherine? This could happen. And especially if it's on Zoom, I will have students coming in just to want to hear if other people have questions. And then that way, yeah. So I'm wondering if that's one of those situations here. Okay, great. So is it Lan? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a question about the insurance. So I am wondering if I can like buy insurance outside of school and then apply for the waiver somehow.
Okay, that's a good question. For the SHIP, SHIP, the insurance, Catherine or Andrea?
I can take that question. So in general, students, or there aren't that many pathways to a waiver for students on a visa. It goes through a specific office on campus and called the Student Care Network, and they determine if a student is eligible for a waiver or not. I will say in most cases, when they have approved waivers, the student has been required to show that they have an insurance plan that meets or exceeds the coverage provided in the student insurance plan. So, you know, hypothetically, even if a waiver was approved, you would still have to make sure that you have a plan that meets all of those requirements. It couldn't just be like any plan, because they want to make sure that, you know, you have good coverage and you have something that will, if you ever had to use it, does provide a lot of coverage.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm also a parent with a child going to a university that requires the same insurance. And so the bar is pretty high for you to request a waiver. You have to have really good insurance, and to demonstrate that, you know, there can be, if there are any emergencies or medical needs, they can be fully addressed. And so a lot of times the relatively inexpensive insurance plans that students are being tempted to being, you know, a lot of times there are lots of these providers out there, and there are usually some good reasons that they are cheap. and then probably won't be approved even if you purchase them, and then you can't, cancel them. So make sure that you really read the fine prints and make sure that you go through the insurance offerings. But I would say student insurance is really a good way to go if you don't really have, for example, in the US, or you have parents and already have a good employer-based, insurance. We've had plenty of examples of our students for just unforeseen reasons got sick or had to be hospitalized, and the insurance that we provide through Vanderbilt not only provided the medical care, but also, including transportation. Sometimes if your parents have to come, all those reasons. And so it's good insurance for the price.
Thank you.
And just one other, I think, point, and I put in the chat a link to the waiver, and it has just some the requirements in writing that that plans purchased on the marketplace are not considered comparable for SHIP, but there's more information for you on that link.
Okay, I'll look
Yes.
into it. Thank you.
Great question, Len. Thank you. I think that addresses one of the questions Ali had here. Put it in the chat space, and there are a couple of questions also about transportation, about cars. And yes, we do have public transportation, and this is Kim and you all can jump in too. And it is actually free for our students. Once you have your student ID to take buses and any of the public transportation. It's not always as convenient and maybe as some of the big cities with good public transportation offerings. And so our students eventually, some of them do have cars. Cars come in with also lots of additional costs, not only just buying a car. Right now, used cars are pretty expensive. And also then you have to purchase insurance, and maintenance costs would also be relatively high. So you have to balance that out. That's something that when you're here, then you can actually explore your options and making sure you have some good advice. People can actually help you, make that decision. So it's possible. There's also parking concerns. Parking is not always easy to come by. So those are some of the things comes with living independently in a foreign country. But you should seek advice through the IMAP program. Is very helpful. Lots of people have had that experience. Also, making sure that you look through your options and read the fine points of any of the information you're being provided. Have I missed anything on transportation?
I just saw one thing. I think it's Ali was asking, without a driver's license, can one ride or drive about Nashville? No, you will have to have a driver's license in order to operate a vehicle in the city. In the US, period.
Dean Cravens, there was a message in the chat about the waiver submitted for the US Concepts course. Do you want to take that one?
Yes, if you have attended a US institution for your previous degree, typically that is a good reason to seek a waiver, especially if your previous degree is in the field of social science education. So any of those requests, we are going to review that, and you will hear from us within the next week to whether or not you can actually receive the waiver. But we strongly encourage all our students to participate. It's a 10-week course, and for only 75 minutes each Friday. It's a wonderful community building experience, and it's not about learning English. It's about learning all the foundational knowledge as you become a professional student, a student in education, and to be successful academically and socially. So it's a great great part of what we offer to our international students. But yes, if you have asked for a waiver, you will hear back from us next week. Great. Okay. Catherine, that this question might be yours, when I can start taking classes. Also, when I get.
Yeah, I was actually typing in the chat to answer the question, but I will just take it. I'll just answer it here. So the first day of fall classes is Wednesday, August 24th. So for fall start programs. So as we indicated, orientation, in addition to the online virtual orientation the week before, the on-campus is that Monday and Tuesday, so the 22nd and 23rd. Classes start for everyone on Wednesday, August 24th at Vanderbilt. And I think the best, program requirements vary. So I think the best source of information would be your program director to get a sense of what are the required courses and what are some, oftentimes recommended electives, or, certainly within programs, there are some electives that are nicely aligned with a particular course of study. There may also be requirements about taking particular required courses first. And so I think your program director would be the best source of information. I'd encourage you to reach out to him or her. And I would also say, and this is, I think, one of the benefits of studying at Peabody, I always have the great privilege of teaching students from across departments, from across programs, and we really encourage students to do that. So I think definitely talking with your program director about what possible options are would be the best next step. But we are really excited to kick off the academic semester on Wednesday, August 24th. And I should also say that, you might find that some of your courses, before you might be hearing from your faculty members, maybe the week before class, or to give you a sense of what, there might be a few readings or, some things to do to prepare for that first day of classes, but you'll be hearing from people directly on that.
Great. Okay. That's great. I really like these great questions. Are there any other questions from anyone? All right.
Looks like,
Estefania, yes, hello.
Hi, my name is Ling, and I have a question about the I-20. For now, I only have the electronic copy of I-20, and will this suffice when I apply for the F1 visa?
Yes, so in the past, students were required to have an original I-20, but over the last couple of years, one of the adaptations that the government made because of COVID was to allow for electronic I-20s. So you'll only be given that PDF of your I-20 that was uploaded to the ISSS portal, but you will still need to print that and sign it and take that paper copy with you to your visa appointment, as well as when you enter, because they won't let you just hold up your phone and show it there. So the PDF will be fine, but you'll have to print that out still.
That's great to know. I didn't know that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just one other thing to mention, I don't know if we have any students who are in J1 status, but the J1 program is administered by a different government agency, and unfortunately, the Department of State has not given that same flexibility for DS 2019. So if you are requesting a DS 2019, you still will actually have to have an original copy, and we will be sending that to you via FedEx if you have a DS 2019.
Great. All right, Estefania.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I have a question about housing. I know it was already mentioned, but the thing is that tomorrow I have a Zoom meeting with some possible roommates. They have a room available. It's close to campus in Hillsborough, I think is the place. I just wanted to know if there's anything that I should consider or ask, or I know some piece of advice on questions that I should ask tomorrow, or something that I should tell them to send me to know more about the place. If it's possible to know more about that, that would be great.
Yeah, actually, let me jump in, Jasmine. So, because Estefania is one of our IEPM students, actually sent an email to me, and we have quite a few students who lived in that area, and some of them are still here in Nashville, even when they're doing their practicum. I know Jasmine's here, but Nathan and a few others are here, and they can definitely give you a lot of information about the area and also what questions you could ask. Yeah, so that's exactly what you should do. Reach out, to your program, and then your current students and your program director, and then we will help you with that.
All right, thank you.
Well, I personally would say Hillsborough is very close to Peabody College, which is a really nice place for you to think about. And also, I think you can find me in the WhatsApp group. If you won't have any questions, I can just refer you to anyone who lived in Hillsborough Village in the past, so you can build a connection there. As for the advice, if you are not here and you want to know how the room looks like, you can ask your friend to give you a room tour, something like that, like a short video, a clip, something like that. Or you can just invite someone who live here, who is still here. Like, can you please do me a favor and go check it out if everything just as you expected? So I think that would be great.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Okay. There's a question about whether or not there are plenty of space. Oh, yeah, and Kim, you answered that. Great. Well, we have just a few more minutes. Let me say this. If you have more questions and later after this session, you can for sure email your questions to me and to any of the members from Peabody and from the International Student and Scholar Services here. And then we will be happy to answer them. If we don't know the answer, we can also help you find the person who can actually provide the information. So it's never, you have nothing to lose by asking questions, and we want to make sure that your transition, your journey here would be successful.
And I would just like to add to that, since I've gone through the admissions process with all of you, you definitely have my contact information. I am easy to find. Feel free to send me any questions you may have, and I'm glad to direct it to the appropriate office or the appropriate person.
And I'll just add that, you will be getting information about orientation and other things as we draw closer to the start of the academic year, but know that we're all so excited to welcome you, and our virtual doors are always open. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. There's an army of people here waiting to welcome you and are here to support you.
Wonderful. Great. Well, thank you all for coming. Have a good rest of the week. Enjoy your summer. We look forward to seeing you all. Goodbye.